can just roll in and join. Thank you all for coming today for our second counselor convening this year with our new scholarship application. Thank you all so much for your patience while we created and tested a new application. Right now, I'm actually going to introduce my director, Danielle Valenciano. She's going to talk to you a little bit about herself, and then we're gonna start this presentation.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a good afternoon, and we really thank you for joining us today. This is our 6th annual counselor convening, and it's kind of an exciting one because, as you are all aware, we are going to be using an entirely new platform. So while the questions haven't really changed at all, the way it looks, the presentation has definitely changed. I think you are going to find it to be more intuitive than Smarter Select, which is a really good thing. So today we are going to be, this is our annual Train the Trainer. We're going to be walking you through the program, through all the different tabs. We are also going to be showing you different resources on our website, our FAQs, tips and tricks, and some of the background about our goals for the purpose of this program. So before we continue though, I want to also introduce you to Jessica Hasso. She is our scholarship specialist.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Hasso. I am the specialist. This is my 4th year, my 4th scholarship season, and I work with our backend, our scholarship platform. Right now, all of us are working on our scholarship platform, but usually that's my main goal or my main part of my job. And then I also work with our volunteers who evaluate all of our scholarship applications. Back to you, Melanie.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Danielle. I'll introduce myself again. My name is Melanie, and this will be my 3rd year with the scholarships team. I'm the scholarships administrator. So as the administrator, I serve as the primary contact for students, schools. I spend a lot of my time fielding questions, resolving payment issues, and building our base of applicants and recipients. My main goal or role during the season is to reach out to you all, counselors, advisors, and stakeholders to make sure that you guys have the resources that you need to educate students with their scholarships. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the program, and then we can get started with our new scholarship application platform. So to give you a bit of background, the San Diego Foundation has been around for 46 years now, and our scholarship program is going into its 25th season. Since 1997, the program has grown from 21 scholarship opportunities and 33 scholarships granted to students to around 144 now, with over 1,000 scholarships granted, with more than 3.3 million granted out just last season. All of these funds are donor driven, so they all have their own unique criteria, which allows us to offer awards to a wide range of students in San Diego County. The majority are for high school students, as you all know, but we do have several scholarships for current college students, graduate students, and adult reentry. Our scholarships cover most any type of post-secondary schooling, and many do not require a high GPA. So many of our donors are looking to support students that we call diamonds in the rough. I do want to mention, if any of you guys have questions during this presentation, please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A. I have Danielle and Jessica. They will be in there monitoring it and answering all your questions, which we will assume will be happening since this is a whole new platform. We'll respond to you in real time. If for some reason we do not get to your question, we can address it at the end, or you are more than welcome to email me. So as you can see, we are launching in exactly a week. February 1st is our launch date, and we will end on March 10th at 2 p.m. So that will give students about 6 weeks with this new open application. Now, something new that we are going to do for this specific presentation is, instead of a PowerPoint, I'm going to show you the application live. Now, of course, it's not live for students right now, but we have been working on it. So I'm going to show you from beginning to end how to access our application on our new platform. So to start, you're going to go to our website, sdfoundation.org. We don't have it there now, but when you go to students and common scholarship application, there will be a guide there for the students to know how to register. But for right now, the students are going to log in to my TSDF. Our new platform is My TSDF. It is through our foundation and through our website. I know in the past we have told students not to go here because that has been solely for our fund advisors, but this year our students are going to have their scholarship applications through My TSDF. When students click login to My TSDF, it is going to have them create an account. Just some basic information, their first name, last name, nickname, email address, and password. Now I'm going to let you guys know that the email address and password that the student will put in right here is going to be their user ID and the password that they use when they want to log in and continue filling out their applications. The students can put a password hint. And then the most important thing on this register is for students to click scholarship applicant, for students to apply for scholarships, not grant applicant, not fund advisor, not reviewer. Students need to click scholarship applicant to be able to access our scholarship application. Down here, you can see we just want some basic contact information as well. Once this is all filled out, the student will click register. And every time a student wants to log back in, like I said, they will just go to My TSDF, and then they will just put in their email address and their password, which will bring them here. This will be their new homepage for this application. Oh, I'm sorry, there we go. So you can see it says, welcome, Melanie Mashburn. That will be the student's name, of course, and it will have them be a scholarship applicant. You can see this is their homepage. We have feature applications, the 2022 Common Scholarship application. As you can see to the right of that, recently accessed. So we have been testing and testing and testing to make sure that the application does not have any glitches. So as you can see here, I have a lot of applications already started. Something really cool is alerts. So if a student has an application that isn't finished and they have not submitted, you can see right here, an addendum, which we'll discuss later, that's required additional materials. This alerts the students that they have some applications that they need to complete. Now, to find our 2022 Common Scholarship application, the student can click right here, or they can go to Find Scholarships. Now on this page, we will have our 2022 Common Scholarship application. And once this loads, you will see we do have other opportunities called our separate applications as well for students to fill out. And these are not part of the Common Scholarship application. So here's the Common Scholarship. As you know, we have 144 different scholarships all in one application. And then I'm going to scroll down. These are separates. So all of these are not on the Common, and students can apply. We just do advise that they read the criteria. And here's the body. It will tell you a little explanation of the scholarship. It will let you know what the criteria is, and it also lets you know allowable expenses, average amount of awards. Students can apply to these, but these are one by one they would have to fill out. It is not part of the Common. So I'm going to go back. I do want to go over some of these. So this is where they would find all of these scholarship opportunities. My Save Scholarships is where they would go for any scholarships that they have started or submitted. If the student becomes a recipient, then they could go to My Scholarships and they will be able to see the scholarships that they have received. References, if the student fills out a scholarship that has a letter of recommendation, this is where the student will go to monitor where their references are, and I will be showing you that later. And reports, the student doesn't need to go there now, but this will come in handy later if they are a recipient. So I'm going to go to My Saved Applications since I already have the Common Scholarship application filled out, but I do want to go through the whole application with you. So here's my Common Scholarship application. But like I said, we've been testing and testing. So I have pages and pages of applications that we have all tested as a team. But I'm going to open this one. So while this loads, I do want to mention that students should ensure that they have all requested academic, financial, and personal information on hand, like their FAFSA or their California DREAM Act. Students should be willing to devote around 3 to 4 hours to complete this application. Students can save the application. And then here is our new application when they enter it. So just like Smarter Select and just like Danielle said, the application is actually exactly the same as the application on Smarter Select. It's just on a different platform, so it's formatted a little differently. I'm first going to go over all of these tabs with you, and then we're going to go one by one and look at each of them and what they contain. Our first tab is rules for applying, then contact information. We want to know demographics, academics, their fall 2022 educational plans, their finances, extracurricular activities, work experience, community service, awards and honors, and personal statements. Something really cool is they can hop around as much as they please and fill out whatever page that they want to, but we're going to start from the beginning. Another thing I do want to mention is these up here. The student can save their application up here or at the bottom, and I do recommend that a student saves their application after every page. And then we'll get to match to funds at the very end. Now, if you guys remember, Smarter Select had students fill out some matching questions at the beginning, and then it showed the students what scholarships applied to them. They would have to go through it and check the ones that applied to them. This is absolutely reversed. With this application, the student will fill out the application first, and once they are 100% complete, it is saved. Then it will match them to the funds that apply to the information that they put into their application. So let's go over the first page, rules for applying. So rules for applying, this is just all basic information letting the student know, when the deadline is March 10th at 2 p.m., when they will be notified. It has our email address here if they have any questions about the application. The student should read this because it will eventually save them time in the end. They also need to type in their name in the application year, which is 2022. Another part of the rules for applying is our media release. Now, this is new this year. This is for students or their guardians actually to fill out because sometimes we do like to use some videos or some photographs and just some media for advertising materials. Some of our donors who are companies, they also do like to use some student materials to advertise with. So if students are under the age of 18 and they are okay with this media release, then they would click yes, but then they would have to have their parent or legal guardian sign their name right here and date it. For our students that are 18 or over and they consent, then they would click this option. They would have their participant signature, and then they would sign it right or date it right here. If the student does not consent and the guardian or parent does not, then they can just click no. They do not consent, there's no signing, and then they just do have to date. So I have it here since most of our students are going to be high school students under the age of 18. After rules for applying, we just want to know some basic contact information. So your first name, last name, your pronoun, street address, city, state, and zip code. Now, city and zip code, these are really important because we do have some scholarship opportunities that are specific to city and zip codes. If for some reason you do not see your city or zip code here, as you can see, we have other, but we have tried our best to put every single city and zip code in San Diego County on this application to help narrow to make sure that the student does apply for the right scholarship for where they live. We also want to know the student's mobile number, if they have a second telephone number, their email address so that we can communicate with them. And then as you all know, most of our scholarships are for San Diego residents. So we do want to know if the student resides in San Diego County, Southern California, or other. We want to know how many years they have resided in San Diego County too, if they are a San Diego resident. Now, like I said, students can click around with these tabs, or they can just go use these buttons at the bottom. I like these tabs at the top. After contact information, we're asking for the student's ethnicity, for their birth date, citizenship status, if they were foster youth, former, current, never in foster youth. And here are some options here. Their first parent's highest education, their second parent's highest education, if they were born in the US or not. Now, all of these do not factor in the application score. But once again, we do have some scholarships that are specific to specific ethnicities, citizenship status. So this will just show the unique application for that student, but it does not factor into the application score. We want to know if the student identifies as a first-gen student. We also are interested if they've ever been in the military or if their parents have ever been in the military. We do have some scholarships, like I said, that are specific to some organizations or companies. I'm assuming most of our applicants would click none of these apply, but if for some reason your student has a parent that is employed by one of these, then they would click one of these as an option. Right here is more for our unique criteria. Have you participated in? So we have AVID right here for the top STEM scholar, CIF, cross country. If you identify as LGBTQI+, or your parents do, CIF wrestling. So like I said, these are very unique, but it just helps us match those students to specific scholarships that do have this unique criteria. I also do want to mention, and there's a little tip right here, if the student participated or identifies with more than one, they can click on one, hold the control button, and they're able to have multiple of these come up. We also want to know how the student found out about the Common Scholarship application. If other is here, then they can just type it in right there. We want to know if the student has been in a college readiness program. And if they have, they're able to click what college readiness program in San Diego County that they have participated in. Just like this above, if the student is in 2 or 3 college access programs, then they can click and hold down what college access programs that they are participating in or have participated in. If the student does not see their college access program, then they are more than welcome to type it in right here. So after demographics, we have academics. Now, this is more straightforward as long as the student remembers their school's official name and the school district, which I know can sometimes get complicated with charter schools and continuation schools. So here we ask for the student's current school status. I have it on graduating high school senior, since that's most of our applicants. But as you can see, we have current career technical, community college students, but will be transferring to four-year, graduate medical professional, adult reentry, or maybe they're just not currently enrolled. We have all of the San Diego County high schools here. So they would need to pick what high school they're going to. And if they do not see their high school name, they can type it here. We want to know their school district. High school and school district is very important because we have some scholarships that are specific to students going to a specific high school or in a specific school district. We also want to know the student's cumulative GPA. And as you can see, these are not required. I'm sorry if I didn't mention earlier, but these little red asterisks, that means those questions are required, which I feel like you all know. But the SAT and the ACT, they are not required. As most of you probably know, the UCs voted in May of 2020 to suspend the SAT and ACT testing requirements through 2024 and eliminate them actually for California students by 2025. CSUs also had temporarily suspended the SAT or ACT test requirements only for students applying for admission in fall in 2022 as freshmen. So these are not required because a majority of our scholarship opportunities do not have this as a requirement. If the student has been involved in any AP, IB, or SAT subject test names, then this is where they would put them. So once again, this is the student's current academics. Now, after current academics, we want to know the student's fall 22 educational plans. This is just another factor that helps us determine eligibility. So we want to know their school level. Are they going to be a community college student, a four-year college freshman, junior, sophomore, senior, graduate? Are they going to be attending school full-time, part-time or 9 units or more. A lot of our scholarships actually have students enrollment on there if they want the student to be enrolled full-time, or sometimes our donors don't care and they can be enrolled part-time. We want to know what degree the student is pursuing in the fall, their anticipated graduation date, and we have a little helpful hint up here that if they are going to a 4-year college, then they're likely to graduate in 2026. And then we do have a section here for their intended or declared major, their intended specialty, intended career. And just like how we have on Smarter Select, we want to know their first, second, and third school choice. As you can see, the first school choice is the only required. They can put their second and third. This is just for us to help determine eligibility. One thing I do want to mention, you can see on this drop down, we have the CSUs, the San Diego Community Colleges, and the UC schools, as well as USD. We have these as the drop down options because if the scholarships that we have that require the students to go to a specific school, they're all going to be in San Diego County or their UCs. Now, we completely understand that our scholarship applicants might not go to any of these schools. So that is why we have the other option, and they can put the school that they're going to or plan on going to here. But for right now, I'm going to just put this on San Diego State. We want to know the school type, if it's going to be a community college, 4-year public, private, graduate school, and so on. We want to know the school's location. In San Diego County? Is it in Southern California? Is it in California, or is it outside California? And the school state. So that will be the same for the second and third choice, but as I said prior, only the first choice is required. Now, after fall 2022 plans, we get into our finances. Now, as you can see here, just like on our Smarter Select application from last year, we asked for the family's EFC, which I'm hoping by this time most students have by now. So they would just type in their EFC that they have on their student aid report. And then they're also going to upload their student aid report here. And we completely understand that there might be other financial circumstances that this number does not tell. So we do have the opportunity to write in here if something happened to them during 2020, 2021, or currently. After the EFC and the student aid report, we do want to know the student's financial status. Now I have this on dependent here because most of our students are dependent, but if the student clicks independent, as you can see, it will conditionally format and pop up for independent students. I'm going to click this back real quick for the purpose of this presentation. We want to know the student's parents' marital status in 2020. We want to know who the household income was earned by, both parents or one parent. We do want to know the AGI. I do want to emphasize that we look at the EFC up here, this number, and not the AGI. The expected family contribution just gives our evaluators a better idea of an applicant's level of financial need. And then right here, we want to know about your family members or the student's family members. The number of family members living in the house in 2020, including the applicant. The number of family members in the household attending college in fall 2022, including the applicant. We want to know if that student or that applicant is a single parent with dependent children. And then here, if you do have family members that are attending college in fall 2022, we just want to know who and where they're attending. Now, after finances, we have our extracurricular activities, our work experience, and our community service. Now, extracurricular activities, community service, and work experience help our evaluators understand an applicant's sense of, or their commitment to the community. Information like what clubs the student participates in, how many hours they work, and how they spend their free time are all very helpful for the evaluators to get some perspective about that applicant. One thing I do want to mention is that we do have an opportunity on each of these tabs for the student to put if they were unavailable to participate in activities. And we do have 4 different opportunities for each work experience, extracurricular, and community service for students to put what they were involved in. Something that might be helpful for students to understand the difference between an extracurricular activity and community service is an extracurricular activity is something the student does for themselves, whether that is an after-school sport, a club, and community service is something the student does for others, whether that is volunteering and tutoring, just as some examples. So for the extracurricular activities, we just want to know the club or the organization. We want to know what they did, their start date, their end date, and the average hours they participated in each week. For work experience, it's very similar. And I forgot to mention for all of these and before, we want to know since January 2018. So that would be their 4 years in high school. For work experience, it looks very similar. We want to know their employer, their job title and responsibility, their start date, their expected end date, or if they have already had an end date, they can put that as well, and the average hours employed per week. And we do have 4 opportunities, just like we had in extracurricular activities. Now for community service, the one thing that is different other than the organization, contributions, start and end date, is instead of hours per week, we want to know the estimated hours contributed total so far for that community service. So the student would put in the hours they contributed in total. And as you can see here, it actually adds them all up for the student, which is really cool. So that would be the only difference from extracurricular and work experience. We want to know their weekly hours, while with community service, we want to know the total hours that they have contributed. Next, we have awards and honors. So if the student has received any awards or honors since 2018, they can list 3 here. The award and honor, why they were given the award or honor, and the date that they were given that award or honor. And last but not least, personal statements. These are exactly the same as we have had in the past. So we give some instructions right here, some tips, how long the short answer and the essay should be. And then here are the prompts. So the short answer prompt: if you have decided on your educational and career goals, describe them and explain how your interest in these goals developed. If you have not yet decided on your educational and career goals, please describe some possible goals and explain how you might explore and decide on them. Now for our essay, we have 2 options and the student just needs to pick one. The first option is explain how an important personal accomplishment, challenge, or experience has impacted your life. What did you learn and how will you apply this lesson in the classroom or community? The second option is describe an example of your leadership experience in which you have positively influenced others, helped resolve disputes, or contributed to group efforts over time. So this really allows students to turn their application into a narrative. What evaluators are looking for is evidence of growth with the applicant, roles in leadership. So the evaluators really get a better idea of who the student is and why they are writing what they're writing. So students can choose between these 2 prompts, like I said, for the essay. Now that is the whole application. Students can go around, skip, save. And like I've said, I do recommend that the student saves after every single page. Once their application is complete, then either up here or down here, they're gonna match to the funds. Now, while this is thinking about what funds match everything that I have filled out in the application, we are going to actually show you what it looks like as a recommender to get a request if you need to write a letter of recommendation for your student, since a lot of you might be doing that. So match scholarship funds, wow. So I put in I'm a high school student in the San Diego Unified School District. I put in my GPA, all of that information. Here are all of the scholarship opportunities that apply to my information that I put into the scholarship application. I would recommend students read just to make sure that they're meeting the criteria 100%. But if the student is like, yes, I meet that criteria, this one, that looks great. These are the 4 I am going to apply for. Now, one thing that is very important is this little red asterisk right there. Some funds may require additional materials. Please read all instructions. Funds do not require additional information will be immediately submitted. Once an application is submitted, you cannot make changes. That is very important, and that is the one difference from Smarter Select from this platform. Once the student picks what applications they want to apply for and they click submit, they can no longer go back in and change their application. So we do recommend that students have somebody, an advisor, a teacher, a parent, whoever, look over their application to make sure it's 100% filled out correctly in the way that the applicant wants it. Because if they hit submit, then they cannot go back in and change their application. Now I have picked the 4 that I want to apply to. Once I have picked those 4, and like I said, I'm purposely picking one that I know has a letter of recommendation so I can show you all what that looks like. Then I'm going to hit submit. Great. So I'm going to do the Wheel Family Scholarship. As you can see here, all of these, the applications submitted, but we've been testing so much that all of these are just the required additional materials that some scholarships have, meaning a required essay, a letter of recommendation, and so on. So I'm going to pick this one here because I know it has a letter of recommendation. What the student will do then is open up that application. This is thinking. As you can see here, you can see the application. The student can still go in and look at it, but the only thing that they're able to manipulate is this tab right here. This is what we're calling an addendum this year. The required additional materials is going to be called an addendum. So it's thinking a little bit. All right, here we go. So I've already filled this in, but as you can see, the student will need to put in the reference email, the name, and then this is just an extra question for this specific scholarship. Now, if a student somehow, the counselor gets back to them and they say, I do not have time to fill out this for you, or for some reason they put in the wrong email address, I wanted to show this to you guys. The student can change the reference and resend the request. They can also do this in the references tab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send myself a request. This will send a reference request email. Your reference will then be able to complete a reference form. You'll be able to monitor the status of that reference from the references menu right here. Do you want to continue? Yes. So I'm going to bring over my window when the email comes, so I can show you all what it looks like on your end as the recommender. Okay, here it is. Let me bring that over. There we go. So I want to mention that the email will be coming from my TSDF, since that is a platform that we are using this year. It's going to say hello and your name as the recommender. It is going to have the student's name here that they filled out our Common Scholarship application. And as a recommender, you will click this link. And then these are just all of my testing, but normally you will probably just have 1 or 2 since you'll be filling out just a couple of letter recommendations. So you'll have the applicant name. You can open it up. Again, I showed you the Gompers one. So this is thinking, and it's going to show you 2 tabs as the reference, the recommender. Okay, it's locked right now just because we're still testing. So application summary, it has the application year, like I said, the student's name, the city, state, zip code, and their email address. And then as a recommender, what you're going to do is right here, you will upload your letter of recommendation. A button right here will say submit, but since I've already submitted it, you can go back into that link and you can view it, or you can also remove it and upload a new letter of recommendation if you need an uploaded one. After you submit it, well, it's already been submitted, but after you submit it, then the student will know that that letter of recommendation is submitted. Now, what I'm going to do is that is the Common Scholarship application on our new platform. If anybody has any questions, please put in the Q&A. We can answer them right now, but I'm actually going to show you our new updated timeline because I think that's very important. So let me just stop sharing my screen. And I will show you our updated timeline that we have for this year's Common Scholarship application. Let's share my screen again one more time. Okay, here we go. So this week we are updating all of our flyers. I know a lot of you have reached out asking for an updated flyer, or if you can post it. We're working on that as we speak, and they will all be updated on our website this week. If you do not see them there for some reason, please email me and I can send them to you. Today and tomorrow we have our virtual counselor convenings. February 1st at midnight, we have the launch of our CSA. March 10th at 2 p.m. That is when it closes. And also that is when it closes for all letters of recommendation. April through May, we have our evaluators, our volunteer committees evaluate the applications. Late May, if you want to know if one of your students received an award, then you can contact us. And then by June, all students are notified if they are a recipient. So this is our new updated timeline. So you guys are all pretty familiar with what our scholarships page looks like. As you can see, these are all outdated. We are in the process right now of putting the February 1st date on there, the March 10th deadline, but everything will look the same. Who is eligible? We will have all of our resources here. We will have the step-by-step guide. So I know I did the live application today, but I actually have a PowerPoint that I was going to present, an updated PowerPoint. So that will be actually right here as a step-by-step guide if you want to reference to it later. We are currently recording this. We will be uploading this recording. And a great thing is we have a PDF guide that we're going to upload that shows students how to register just in case they have any issues or questions or it's difficult for them to know how to register. I said, if you guys have any questions or we didn't get to any of your questions today, then please email me at scholarships@sdfoundation.org. I think that is just it today. I am looking, let me stop sharing. I was looking in the Q&A and it looks like all 4 questions were answered. That's great. I will wait one more minute just to see if anybody else has any questions after this presentation. But if not, thank you all so much today for joining us. We really appreciate your patience and your time. I see somebody has their hand up, but I think you might have to put your question in the Q&A. Yeah, let me put my email in here. I will put that in the chat to everyone. Let me put the scholarships. scholarships@sdfoundation.org. Let's see. I don't see any other questions coming up. Do you have scholarship for San Diego City College students? We do have specific scholarships for San Diego College students. When you go to our scholarships page, you will see an updated PDF criteria. Here, let me actually go there. Go to students. Let me share my screen again with you. Students. Common scholarship application. And this will all be updated. So we still have this criteria on here. These are still all of the scholarships that we have opportunities for this year. We just need to, of course, go in and change the date since these are all outdated. But what you can do is a Control F, and you can type in City College or San Diego City College, and you can look at all of the scholarship opportunities that we have. Now you can do this with anything. You can put your ethnicity in, you can put your GPA in, you can find anything. So that is how you would look to see if you do have a specific school in mind, what scholarships apply to that specific school. Oh, it's 2022. The dates, all of them are, since we are in this year. Does anybody help? No problem. Does anybody else have any questions before we go? All right, everybody, thank you all so much for joining us today. My email is in the chat, as well as all over the scholarships webpage. Please feel free, you can join again tomorrow. If you have anybody that couldn't join today, we are having another session over the live application tomorrow, same time, 3 p.m. to probably around 4 p.m. It only takes us about an hour with this new application. And thank you all again. I hope you all have a great evening. Oh, thank you. Thank you all.